Hello children, hope all of us are good. Now the topic for today is disasters, and the key elements are natural disasters and man-made disasters. कोई भी ऐसा इवेंट जिससे कि लाइफ या प्रॉपर्टी को बहुत नुकसान हो, दैट इज अ डिजास्टर. अब डिजास्टर्स नेचुरल भी हो सकते हैं जो कि अपने आप ही हमारे इर्द गिर्द होते हैं, जैसे कि अर्थक्वेक, वॉल्केनो एटसेट्रा. लेकिन बड़े सारे डिजास्टर्स जो हैं वो हम ह्यूमंस की एक्शंस की वजह से होते हैं. दोज आर कॉल्ड man-made disasters. So let us study in detail what are the natural disasters and what are the man-made disasters. Now the question arises, what is a disaster? Disaster is a sudden event such as an accident that causes great damage or loss of life. Now our earth is a peaceful place to live in, but sometimes sudden events can cause damage to life. We are unable to control these events. So these events are called natural disasters like earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, tsunamis, landslides, etc. The disaster influences the mental, socio-economic, political and ecological state of the affected area. So as said, disasters are of two types, man-made and natural disasters. So what are natural disasters? Earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, cyclones, tsunamis, landslides, droughts, thunderstorms, tidal waves, etc. And what are man-made disasters? Road or train accidents, industrial disaster, epidemic, nuclear disaster, environmental pollution, etc. So first we will look at the natural disasters. So a natural disaster is the effect of a natural hazard caused by geological and climatic changes. It is not brought by the activities of human beings. However, some human interference may influence climatic conditions and increase the intensity and the frequency of disaster occurrence. The time scale of natural disasters can vary from a few seconds for earthquakes to a few minutes for volcanic eruptions, a few hours for a cyclone, a few days for floods, and even years for droughts. So first, let us look at earthquake. It is a sudden shaking of the ground caused by rock movements deep inside the earth. Earthquakes are more frequent than other natural disasters and usually cause widespread destruction and great loss and devastation. Earthquakes are caused when the tectonic plates that make up the Earth's crust slide under each other. Sometimes the plates stick to each other, building immense pressure when they meet, due to which the rock bends until it breaks, causing an earthquake. And the earthquake with epicenters near human settlements can cause great loss of life and property. It causes collapsing of buildings and other man-made structures, killing humans and animals, and developing cracks and fissures. Earthquakes can also cause landslides, sudden eruption of volcanoes, and giant waves called tsunamis. Earthquakes are measured on a Richter scale. People who study earthquakes are called seismologists. The intensity, direction and duration of earthquakes are measured by an instrument called seismograph. Now the largest recorded earthquake in the world is of magnitude 9.5 Richter and it occurred in southern Chile on May 22nd, 1960. Now let us look at volcanoes. A volcano is a hole in the earth from which molten rock or magma and gases erupt. The name volcano has its origin from the name Vulcan, the god of fire in Roman mythology. They are caused by when the earth's crust, which is made up of huge slabs called plates which fit together like a puzzle. These plates sometimes move. When two plates collide, some space is created between the plates through which magma squeezes up. This flowing magma on the Earth's surface is known as volcanic eruption. As the pressure in the molten rock increases, it needs some space to escape out. So it forces its way up through a vertical tunnel called a vent and fills a hollow crater, making a narrow crack called fissure in the Earth's crust. The magma called lava erupts through the Earth's surface. As lava cools, it solidifies and forms rocks. Now, what is the difference between lava and magma? Magma is liquid rock inside a volcano, and lava is liquid rock that flares out of a volcano. Now, let us look at the types of volcanoes. There are three different types: active, which can erupt anytime; dormant, which have not erupted for a long time but could erupt anytime in the future; and extinct, which has not erupted in a long time and so will not erupt again. Now, volcanoes cause loss of life and property around the area where it erupts. The released clouds of ash and gases cause air pollution, and lava which flows into the sea affects marine life and causes thermal pollution. What are tsunamis? Tsunami is a Japanese word for harbor waves, or for a series of huge waves that comes from an undersea disturbance generated by an earthquake or a volcanic eruption. These waves travel in all directions from the area of disturbance, rolling towards the shore. They can cause a lot of destruction on the shores. Tsunamis are sometimes called tidal waves, but they have no link with the tides. Tsunami waves submerge coastal areas and wipe out entire coastal settlements in just a few hours. They affect the natural environment in general and the marine ecosystem in particular. They damage the habitats of different types of flora and affect coastal and marine life forms. We will now look at the cyclones. The cyclone is a circulation of wind or air masses about a low pressure center blowing anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. They are called hurricanes in the Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico and Eastern Pacific Ocean, typhoons in the Western Pacific Ocean, and cyclones in the Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal and around Australia. Now, these are caused by warm ocean water and moist warm air. When warm moist air from the ocean surface begins to rise, it encounters cooler air that causes warm air water vapor to condense and form storm clouds, due to which air pressure drops at the surface of storm. A region of low pressure is created that results in spiral wind pattern around a calm center of eye. Now, what is an eye? The central part of the cyclone is called the eye of the cyclone. And cyclone uproots trees, plants and inflicts heavy damage to crops. There is a heavy loss of human life and livestock. It also inflicts heavy damage to ships, boats and port infrastructure. Now, what are landslides? It is a phenomenon which includes ground movement such as rock falls, failure of slopes and shallow debris flow. A landslide causes sliding of a huge mass of base rocks, soil and boulders down a mountain slope together. Now, these slides can be caused by a number of different climatic factors like heavy rainfall, snowfall and other climatic factors. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions can also cause landslides. Now, landslides have different effects on people, animals, buildings and landscape. They destroy lives and homes. Now we come to the floods. Floods are the world's worst natural disaster which affects billions of people's life every year. During floods, water overflows from the water bodies and submerges low-lying areas, agricultural fields and different routes. Now, floods occur when the rivers overflow, snow melts too much, or dams break out, or ocean waves reach shores during abnormally heavy rainfall also it happens. Now, floods can cause heavy loss of human and animal lives and property. They also destroy forest and agricultural lands and crops. Let us now look at drought. When an area receives less rainfall over an extended period of time, that area is said to be under the spell of drought. So, drought is the deficiency of rainfall or water over a long period of time, which results in shortage of water and it affects life. Drought is caused by less rainfall or snowfall. Weather and climatic conditions also determine the amount of rainfall. However, human activities also contribute to it. Now, it has major impact on agriculture, water supply, power production and environment. The life of people and animals of that area are affected by drought. The economic stability of the region is shaken and people become weak physically and psychologically. Let us now study man-made disasters. Now, natural disasters are influenced indirectly and to different degrees by human activities. But scientific and technological developments have increased human misery in the form of man-made accidents and disasters where human involvement is direct. So, the faulty settings of industries, poor regulatory controls and inadequate safety measures can lead to industrial accidents causing massive destruction of life and property. Then thousands of people die every year in road, rail and air accidents throughout the world. Now, what are man-made disasters? Plane crashes, industrial accidents, contamination of water, floods due to breakdown of dams, wars, nuclear meltdowns, etc. are some man-made disasters. So, the Bhopal gas tragedy that happened in December 1984, that is also an example of man-made disaster. So, what are the key takeaways from this chapter? Disaster is a sudden event such as an accident that causes loss of life. Natural disaster is the effect of a natural hazard caused by geological and climatic changes. An earthquake is a sudden shaking motion of a part of the Earth's crust. Active, dormant and extinct are the three types of volcano. Tsunami is a Japanese word for harbor waves. The central part of the cyclone is called an eye. A landslide causes sliding of rocks, soil and boulders down a mountain slope together. Industrial accidents, wars and nuclear meltdown are some man-made disasters. So, I hope this chapter is clear and answering questions based on this topic will become easy now.